Welcome, everyone, to another edition of The Travel Show with your host, Ted Blank of Ted Blank Luxury Travel and Adventure. And I'm so excited to chat it up with him and hear about our topic of the week. How goes it?
It goes well. How about you?
Well, it's great, Ted. I mean, we're kicking off the summer. I'm kind of a road trip person in the summer, I think.
It's a good time to do it.
Don't you think?
It is, yeah.
You, I know, are going on a big adventure in the near future, which I'm sure we're going to hear about somewhere down the line. But what are we talking about today?
Well, I thought we would talk a little bit about one of those bucket list trips that a lot of people have on their list, and that is to take a cruise all the way around the world.
Oh, my gosh.
Take a world cruise.
And what is the timing of that?
So world cruises are 3 to 6 months long. And so you'll hop on a ship somewhere in the United States, maybe Miami, maybe Fort Lauderdale, maybe San Francisco, and you'll head somewhere around the world. Sometimes they go all the way around the world. Sometimes they go all the way around the Pacific. There are shorter ones that maybe go all the way around South America, but you're going to be gone for a month, 2 months, up to 6 months. Wow. And when you come back, you will have crossed a lot of things off your bucket list.
For sure. So there are some that would, quote unquote, be the whole world?
Yeah, almost every cruise line does a world cruise. And every year they change the itineraries a little bit. And then you have, world geopolitics and things like that can sort of influence itinerary decisions. And so some will actually make their way all the way around the world, sort of in a straight line. Some kind of make their way most way around the world and then come back. And there are actually some that run north and south. So you can hop on a world cruise in Duluth and get off in Chile after you visited Antarctica. So all which ways.
So you're saying almost every cruise company that you know has this?
Yeah, it's actually kind of surprising, and a lot of
It
people
is.
don't realize it. But yes, it's possible on bigger ship cruise lines, smaller ship cruise lines, luxury cruise lines, premium cruise lines, expedition-style cruise lines. There's kind of a world cruise for almost everyone.
So what are some that you would recommend for people?
Well, I think it's a tough decision, I think, for people to think about taking a world cruise and think about, being gone for 3 to 6 months away from home. Although I would say that there's a pretty big chunk of our population that heads south for the winter, and they're gone for about that same amount of time. And so most world cruises very conveniently line up with our winter. And so usually they'll start first thing in January. January 3rd, January 4th. And you can be home anytime between the beginning of April through the end of June, depending on how much time you have, which itinerary interests you the most, which cruise brand you want to travel with. And so you have a lot of choices.
I guess I never thought about the timing, how that would align like that. Right. It's no different than going away someplace and renting a home for 4 to 6 months.
Instead of staying in the same place, you're going to be in a different place, not quite every day. And I think, one of the things that makes world cruises super attractive is you think about some of those really distant places that maybe you'd go to if they were a little closer. Places like Australia, Tahiti, China,
For sure.
India, South Africa. Those are places that, first of all, they're a long, long flight to get there, and you're never going to do more than one of them together. You're not going to go to China, then India, then South Africa, then Australia, then Tahiti, and come back. And so a world cruise gives you the opportunity to sort of have all these little micro vacations just strung into one long trip, and you can come home and you really will have taken a lot of things off your bucket list.
How tired will you be, though?
Well, I think you'd come back relaxed and refreshed. I would
Because
think.
it's at a cruise
It's at a cruise pace, and I think that's a huge difference. Instead of a 14, 16, 20-hour
Flight.
slog to fly to
Yes.
Australia, and you get there and you're just done. You're going to move one time zone at a time. So by the time you get there, you won't even know you're halfway around the world. So world cruises have a lot of days at sea built in as well. And so those are days when you can relax. They're days when all the cruise lines have different onboard enrichment programs, so you can learn a lot as you travel. So it's a very civilized, leisurely pace. Many times the ship will spend not just one night, but a couple nights in port. And believe it or not, you can actually get off the ship and go visit some places that aren't near the ocean. So, for example, the Taj Mahal in India. It's kind of in the middle of the country, nowhere near the ocean. And you can actually get off the ship, head over to see the Taj Mahal, and get back on the ship a couple days later. You can go on a safari in Africa in the middle of your cruise. You can get off and take the train across Australia if you want to, depending on the itinerary. So it's a really flexible way to travel as well. And some people won't get off the ship. They'll stay on board and they'll just keep going. And other people will get off and do what they call a land tour or an overland program, either arranged through the cruise line or something we can set up for you independently, where you might want to just do your own thing. So a very flexible way to travel.
It is. It seems like if a boat was going around the world, it would have certain stops and then you would take off. So would you take another ship then? Or
No,
what?
we would work with the schedule and find a way to do it. And you might miss a port or two along the way. You might decide, hey, I really want to see the Taj Mahal. And instead, I'm going to miss a different port along the way. But you can get off the ship in one port and get back on in a second port.
Ted, I'm sorry, but this sounds like a nightmare for you to put together.
Well, we haven't even talked about the number one question people are going to ask, which, of course, is what should I pack? But, there are a lot of complicated logistics that go along with this. Visas, for example. Many countries in the world require a visa.
Not a passport.
For entry. Passport plus a visa.
Plus a visa.
Not a Visa card, but a visa. And so we can help you arrange things. Sometimes people will want to ship luggage to and from the ship. So, the itinerary might start out in a cooler area, move to a warmer area. You can actually ship your luggage back and forth to the ship. So there's a ton of logistical things, medical things, prescription drugs, making sure you have enough of your prescription. And, one of the neat things is that the cruise lines offer a medical consultation before you get on board the ship. And so they can talk to you about what you need and make sure that you have arrangements in place for medication. If there are things that treatments need to be done, that all that can be worked around. It's a very complicated trip when it really comes down to it. Currency, all those things, banking. Can you log into your bank and pay bills and stuff? So for us, it's a very complicated booking. For anyone, it's a complicated booking. But it's kind of fun because when you start to go through port by port and look at the excursions, whether the excursions are included in the price or whether we're helping you arrange your own shore excursions, it's just so fun because the places you're going to go are so diverse.
Obviously, it's very individualized, but where would you even start?
Well, we'd start with a conversation.
Okay.
And it'd probably be a very long conversation about where you've been, where you want to go, what you like when you travel. A lot of people don't want to dive right in and take a world cruise as the first big cruise they're going to take.
Right.
And so the cruise lines offer what are called segments. And so a segment is a chunk of the world cruise that you can take as a standalone trip. And so this January, I took a segment of a world cruise. I got on the ship in Miami and got off 17 days later in Rio de Janeiro. And then the ship kept going. And I think actually just about now, today, is about when it gets back to Fort Lauderdale and the cruise ends. So this was one of the longer world cruises. It went all the way South America. It actually went to Antarctica. You got to see Antarctica. Then it went up the Pacific coast of South America, all through the South Pacific. They went to Easter Island. They went to Hawaii. They went to the Pitcairn Island, where they had the mutiny on the Bounty. Population 250 people. The dating pool there must be interesting. That's what I always think of when I think of Pitcairn Island. Everybody's your cousin. But have a chance to go there. They went through
the cruise ship stops.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Bring your single child along. And they went to Australia. Then they went up through Indonesia to China and Japan, Thailand, and then all the way over to Alaska. Made their way down from Alaska along the Pacific coast, San Francisco, then back through the Panama Canal to Miami.
Oh, my gosh.
And so I was only on it for 17 days, but it was nice because I got a very nice flavor for what a world cruise is like.
And what line was that?
So I was on Regent Seven Seas cruises. And so one of their ships carries about 700 passengers, does a world cruise every year. And you're part of a really unique club, because about half the passengers are going to take the whole trip, and about half are on for one or two segments. Or, in fact, there are people who are taking the whole world cruise, and they bring their family along for the first segment. Then they say, bye-bye, family. They hop on a plane and go home, and mom and dad get to enjoy the rest of the cruise without the family. There were actually some folks who I had dinner with who their family was going to fly out and meet them in Hawaii and then get off in Australia. And they were all going to spend a couple days in Australia before mom and dad got back on the ship and everybody else went home. So really, you can just see all the different combinations and all the permutations you can do. But it's just neat. And, I think a lot of people will say, well, is this just going to be a ship full of rich old people? Well, and there certainly will be rich old people on there. And so if that's you, great option for you. But if that's not you, a lot of the people on there are younger, 50s, 55, 60, kind of early retirees. There was one couple where the husband was an airline pilot and he was retired because they have to retire at 62. And his wife was a teacher and she was retired, and they were going all over the world. They'd been to a few of the places before, but they liked to scuba dive. And so they had, 30 or 40 different places they were going to go scuba diving on this whole trip, and places you'd never go, you'd never be able to get to without spending 2 weeks in transit back and forth to each one of them. And all of a sudden, boom, 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 they come home, and every diving place that was on their bucket list has been visited. So it's not just for the elderly retired folks. It's not a floating nursing home. A lot of the folks are younger. Younger people oftentimes will start out and take one of those segments. Take 17 days or 30 days. They decide they like it and they build up to the whole world cruise. A lot of single women travelers on there as well. Sometimes they're traveling alone. And it's great because you have all these folks who you can, travel with and become friends with. There were also folks who had roommates who they liked traveling together. And there were some who'd done every world cruise since 2015 together. And so, you get to be part of this group of folks on board the ship, and some of them are transient, some of them are coming and going, and some of them are there for the whole time. Another neat thing that I guess I hadn't really realized is that the ship's crews love world cruises because they get to know the passengers. I think it's a different experience than people getting on and getting off and getting on and getting off and getting on and getting off. So the crews, kind of fight to be on the world cruise. And so the best waiters and the best entertainers, the best bartenders, the best cabin stewards, they're the ones the cruise lines pick for the world cruise. So, the level of service that the cruise line delivers, which is always going to be really, really good, is even better on the world cruise. The chefs have a lot of fun because people are on there for a long time, so they can try new things and try new recipes and keep it interesting and keep it varied. So it's just a really neat little experience on the ship itself. But then you go to so many fascinating places that it just, to me, it's something that's always been on my bucket list to do. And I made it 17 days, so I didn't make it 6 months, but I made it 17 days before I had to come back and tape a radio show.
I know you
quite
did.
Honestly. I mean, that's really what brought me back.
So nice.
Nothing
Ted.
else.
Like, your priorities are straight. I love that. That just sounds so fascinating. And
it's something, I think I would recommend to people. I probably wouldn't hop on a world cruise as my very first cruise. I think it's something we'd want to talk about and say, hey, do you want to think about maybe doing a segment this year and kind of planning the world cruise for next year? But the thing is, they sell out. And sometimes world cruises sell out the day they're announced. So if it's something you're thinking about, let's get it on the radar screen now so we can be ready for it. And right now, end of May, beginning of June is when the cruise lines will typically launch their world cruise itineraries 2 years into the future. So the 2027 ones are starting to come out right now.
That's
a few
so
of the
hard
2028 ones are even starting to come out. But because it's a big, it's a big commitment of time and money, people want to think about it and plan ahead and have the time to do that.
So are the boats, obviously, or the ships, are they varied in size?
They are. Yeah, they are. And Princess Cruises, for example, does a world cruise. It is an incredible value. Like, if you were actually to sit down with a calculator and figure out on a day-by-day basis what that cruise costs compared to what you're seeing and doing, it'll blow you away at what a great value is. But that ship carries about 2,000 passengers.
Okay.
Region 7 Seas carries about 700 passengers. And they kind of fall everywhere in between. Viking, the one I talked about, the cruise you can get on to Duluth and get off in Antarctica, carries about 200 passengers. So it's almost an expedition-style cruise ship. So it varies quite a bit. It isn't going to be the biggest of the biggest. Those ones you see in the Caribbean that carry 6,000, 7,000 passengers, those are not going to be the ones that are doing the world cruise. Typically, they're going to be smaller ships, in that 700 to 1,500 passenger range is pretty typical. The first world cruise was actually over 100 years ago, during the Depression.
Really?
And Cunard Line, which we've talked about, the British cruise line, during the Depression, they had some extra ships. And so somebody said, hey, I read a book called Around the World in 80 Days. Can we go around the world in 80 days? Well, it turned out they couldn't do it quite that fast, but they decided to try a world cruise, and they've done one every year since then, except for World War II and during COVID. So they've been doing it for 100 years. and you have their all of their fleet, their 4 ships in the fleet, spend basically January through April either doing a full world cruise or a really neat cruise that I think it's one of the best cruises out there. You hop out in Fort Lauderdale and you sail through the Panama Canal and go all the way around South America and go back. It takes about 45 to 55 days, depending on how many stops it makes. You go up the Amazon River. I mean, just neat stuff. And to see that much of South America in a short time is just, an amazing opportunity. And the other ships actually go all the way around the world.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So, Ted, this is something that I'm sure the price range is varied as well.
Can vary quite a bit.
And can you give people like a ballpark? Would it be like paying rent a month?
I'd say, you can probably find them starting at probably around 40,000.
Okay.
And going up.
Sure.
And up can be high 6-digit prices if you decided you needed to have the biggest suite on board the cruise ship, which, by the way, that'll be the first cabin to sell out, the biggest suite. But yes, it'll go up from there. Depends on the length of time.
Yep.
And there are also longer cruises scattered throughout the rest of the year, but the world cruises tend to be kind of segmented into that January through April timeframe.
Well, this really is just very intriguing, and it's something that I didn't realize we had to plan so far ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. So we are going to host a little get-together in my office, and we're going to talk about world cruising. We're going to talk about why people want to go on world cruises. We'll talk in a lot more depth about some of the tips and tricks and challenges of world cruising, and I'll go through some of the itineraries that are out there so folks can learn a little bit about that. It's going to be on Wednesday, June 18th, over the lunch hour, so it'll be kind of a lunch and learn, and it's going to be at the Black Rooster Bistro restaurant in downtown Hudson, Wisconsin, kind of near my office. So if you're interested in learning more, please give me a call at 651-964-8245, and we will put you on the list for that lunch and learn, and you can learn a little bit about world cruising and kind of decide if it's right for you.
Oh, gosh, Ted, that just sounds exciting. Thank you. So, again, if people want to hear more, of course, they can always contact you.
Always contact us, too. Yep. But Wednesday, June 18th, 11:30 a.m. at the Black Rooster Bistro in downtown Hudson.
Registration required.
Registration is required for that.
Perfect.
Yep.
Great to see you, Ted. Lots of great ideas about a world cruise. This show is called The Travel Show with your host, Ted Blank of Ted Blank Luxury Travel and Adventure.